Hari Om Tat Sat. We are going to begin our second session, which is about history of yoga. Before we begin, we will commence with a traditional prayer. Please close your eyes for the initial prayer, and I will chant. Please follow my words. Close your eyes. Feel your eyebrow center and try to visualize a point of light there. Visualizing the point of light, we will chant Om for one time and then prayer. Breathe in. Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take a deep breath in, gently exhale. When you are ready, gently open the eyes. Yes, lots of people have come, and now I begin the talk. Exact to the point talk. History of yoga. One thing, whenever I speak, I will try to use the word yoga in place of yoga. So whenever I speak yoga, you must understand, I mean yoga, which commonly we use to denote yoga. Traditionally, the term is called yoga. Yoga has become a very popular word in the name of yoga. Now, history of yoga is a very complex topic, very debatable, and it is very difficult to come to a definite conclusion about what has been said is true. I have tried to collect information from various sources. I have re-verified it, and from different sources, when I gathered them, I found there are a lot of differences. So which one is correct and true, it is difficult to say. However, every source of information has its own beauty, which also I have come across. So whatever I have been able to collect, I am going to share with you all. Before I begin the topic, I would like to hint at a very popular verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is a very popular spiritual text recognized all over the world. In chapter 2, verse number 16, Lord Krishna, or the Gita itself, herself speaks that untruth does not have a place, and the truth is never non-existence. It's very clear. So what is true will always be there. What is untrue does have no existence. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate shata. This has been acknowledged, found true by the ancient seers. So I have used this term for the simple reason that knowledge, which we call yoga or any other thing, law of gravitation or anything else which we consider as part of knowledge, we must know that any knowledge never become extinct. It always is existing. In India, lots of work has been done, lots of work towards exploration of a spiritual life, yoga, and things like that. Any research, any study, or any definite conclusion which has to be made about any truth of a spiritual life and a spiritual facts, it has to be filtered by certain norms. This norm was founded by a great saint of India, which I will also mention in our talks coming ahead. But here it is important for all of us to know about it. So at the very beginning, I am trying to express this, that the great Shankaracharya founded or established the fact that any spiritual fact has to be filtered through three different great texts, and that truth must conform with the truth enshrined in these three scriptures. Any teacher in the coming time, any teacher in the past, in the present as well, if he brings any idea about a spiritual life, about yoga, it has to be in harmony with these three scriptures or any of these three. The very first one is, the very first scripture I have to name here is Upanishads. Shankaracharya made commentary on 10 great Upanishads. So 10 Upanishads. Then second text is called Brahma Sutra. It was composed by great saint Vedavyas. Upanishad 2 was written by Vedavyas, commented by Shankaracharya. And then third one is called Srimad Bhagavad Gita. These three are called in Sanskrit Prasthanatrayi, tripods of Hinduism, tripods of spirituality, tripods of yogic life, you can say. So any opinion about yoga, as I have already said, spirituality has to be in conformity with these three or any of these three. So history of yoga also has to be filtered. If I have an opinion about history of yoga, it must be filtered through the opinions of any of these three or all these three. If all these three, that's the best. So it's a free opinion and lifetime opinion that we must know these three scriptures are the foundation or the substance, the conclusion of all spiritual facts and realities. And all great saints, whatever they have spoken, whatever they have said, and whatever they will say in future, they will always go under the guidance, under the command of these three great scriptures. Now, having known all these three, all these different aspects, we must know that yoga, like other knowledge, can never be non-existent. I don't know. Many don't know. Because they don't know, that does not mean knowledge is absent. Knowledge is always present. My whole talks should be or is going to be on the basis of documents, by which I mean scriptures. Second, great people about whom we have got some kind of evidences and some other sources, which I will say, but mostly I will rely on the spiritual documents, the old as well as the modern documents or recent documents, and some great people. Now, if we study about the history of yoga, many scholars, they mostly go back to the period of Vedas, 5 to 7,000 BC, which is not the total span of humanity or universe. It is just somehow, I believe the Western approach has been going on like that, and the world is just trying to acknowledge whatever facts have been given. But my friend, we must know humanity, universe, cosmos is very ancient. So I take you further back, very back in the history of time. That is very ancient. Where do I take you? Yes, I take you thousands of years back, when the first document of humanity came into existence. Long time ago, probably from now onwards, 18 to 20 100,000 years back. 18 to 20 100,000 years back. And from that point of time till the modern time today, till today, I am going to discuss the whole topic into some possible details. So for the sake of the study of the history of yoga, it will be very much interesting to make some categories, make some division of time. So let's say I make 5-6 divisions, and all of you keep remember this, and you will know how these slowly process. So number one, I make the pre-Vedic time. Vedas are the very popular text. So I make pre-Vedic time, which goes very long. I told you, very remote past, 18,000 years back, or 20 or more than that. Then I keep the Vedic period, which is around 5,000 to 7,000 before Christ BC. And then comes pre-classical time, which is around 3,000 to 4,000 BC. Then comes classical time, which is around 2000 before Christ. And then comes post-classical time, which I would say 500 BC until 1700 AD. And then modern time, 1800 onwards till today. So all these are different time divisions into which we will see the form and shapes of yoga, how it has changed, how it has gone through different changes, and how it has also gathered so many new opinions. So first I take you the pre-Vedic time. Knowledge of Vedas, knowledge of yoga, which we have now in any way, must be known that they were always present. So when we say the Vedas, it was at a time it were composed, written, but that knowledge was always existing. They say, and there is a scriptural proof about it. 18,000 years back, there was a great sage called Valmiki. In his prior life, he was a scoundrel, a kind of robber in the forest. He used to rob the tourists and would steal their money. Anyhow, his life changed. He came across some divine soul, and with inspiration and influence, he began to practice yoga and spirituality, whatever we can say, meditation, and he became very evolved soul. There is a story in the forest he was living. Once with his disciple Bharadwaj, he was going to Ganga river. Towards Ganga he was going. And at the lake of Tamasa river, the scripture used the word Tamasa. At the Tamasa river, at the bank of Tamasa river, he arrives at and talks to his disciple. Look at the beautiful river, how nice it looks, how clear it looks. And he was somehow lost in the beauty of the entire cleanliness, like we have clean river in this COVID-19 period. You can see we become mesmerized with the beauty of the river, nature. So he was mesmerized with the beauty. And he gives his clothes to his disciple and became lost in the beauty. Suddenly his eyes went towards a pair of crowns. The word comes crowns in Sanskrit. We can relate crowns to crane. He saw a pair of crane mating, making love together, or they were so much in close love together. So when his eyes went to the close meeting of these two, the pair of birds, he became fascinated in their happiness, what they're enjoying. And suddenly he saw one of the bird fell down and he was almost struggling to save his life. He was badly wounded. Seeing the one bird struggling, the partner bird also became very much sad. In the deep agony, that bird also fell down. So the male bird was actually wounded first, that fell down. In separation, in the pangs of separation, in suffering, in agony, the female bird also fell down. So male bird died out of wound and the female bird died out of shock and separation. That pathetic scene was unbearable for the saint. Story said, suddenly, by the divine inspiration, or somehow from his mouth, a verse in Sanskrit emerged. You can find, I have put in the text, it's a beautiful verse, just came out. He says, very clearly in Sanskrit, it says, Ma nishad pratistham tomangama saswati sama. Yat kranch mithuna dekam badih kama mohita. Oh wild fellow, Nishad means a tribal people. Oh tribal, oh Nishad, oh wild people, oh savage people, oh barbarian. You will not be able to attain peace till the years in eternity because you have killed a bird when they were making love, when they were together in happiness, and they were unsuspecting. At such a present moment, you have killed somebody. It came through his mouth spontaneously. He didn't decide it. It just flowed through his mouth spontaneously. He became sad. He came to his cottage, spoke about to his disciple, and he became restless with this. Story says, great saint Narad appeared and guided Valmiki that you have been given this situation where the natural poem flowed through your mouth. You must be able now to write some nice documents. And you should know, with the inspiration of great saints, the first document of humanity, the first parts I have already chanted, and with that onwards, the first document of humanity, the first scripture came into existence, which is called Ramayana. Ramayana contains the life story of great God Ram. It has 24,000 different verses. Ramayana is not only a history, an epic, but also it's a great book on yoga. It's the first book of humanity, first spiritual document of humanity. And we are proud that such a great text came into existence by the divine inspiration. You can find that book and study about it. In the same book, there is a trace of some lineage of knowledge, lineage of family members, which I will also touch in the coming uh, in the talk which will come later. Here I have to mention about it. In the same Valmiki Ramayana, in the first canto itself, canto 1, chapter 1, and verse number 8, 1.1.8, canto 1, verse 1, canto 1, chapter 1, and verse number 8. Very nicely it has been written. Ikshvaku Bans Prabhavo Ramo Nam Janeh Sruta. Why I am chanting this? Because the word Ikshvaku is going to come in our coming talk. Here it said, in the lineage of Ikshvaku, people say, in the lineage of Ikshvaku, the great king, the great man, the great God, Rama was born. And then further it said how great he was, how nice he was, how powerful he was. So in that lineage, Rama was born, and that lineage is not only a family lineage, but also a lineage of knowledge, yoga, and spirituality, which we will see the hint about in Bhagavad Gita. So you must know the first document of yoga, spirituality, and humanity was Ramayana. First sage, first poet was Valmiki, and first God discussed was Ram. But that does not mean knowledge was absent before. Knowledge was existing before Ram's father was born. And the story about Ram you must know. He was born by a special arrangement. The story says his father didn't have a child, so he had gone to some kind of great sage, and they instructed him to perform fire worship. And through fire worship, some kind of bowl of rice was attained. It was given to his wives, to the mother and stepmother of Ram, and that way, for Ram with his own 3 brothers were born. So how they were born? They were born as a result of spiritual discipline, life according to yoga. So you must know, even if the document Ramayana was written by Valmiki, the knowledge in Ramayana was already existing. So yoga goes much beyond that. But because I have to mention about a scripture, I have just taken this example about it. So knowledge is very prior, very ancient. However, it was somehow documented into, I believe, 100,000 years back in the form of Valmiki Ramayana. During the same time, a second book came into existence, which is highly popular. It has the term yoga itself written there. That's called Yoga Vasisht. Yoga means yogi, all know. Vasisht means it's a proper noun about other great sage. Valmiki was a sage who wrote Ramayana. When Ram left his wife, or his wife went to the forest, she was staying. When she was pregnant, during that time, she was staying in the hermitage of Valmiki itself. So 2 sons of Ram who were born in the forest were educated, kept by Valmiki himself. Such a great saint and such a historical fact about it. Now, so Valmiki was one kind of saint, and there was a family saint, family priest, and also highly enlightened fellow called Vasisht. Vasisht was the family saint of Sri Ram, very, very great saint. So the story says, like Arjuna and Gita, Sri Ram also went through disappointment in his life. Some kind of misunderstanding in his life came, and he became totally unattached towards worldly life, family, kingdom, etc. And he didn't want to involve into any kind of affairs of world, any affairs of kingdom, and a political life, it was very difficult for the father. So a story says, Sage Vasisht arrives and talks about higher truths of yoga. That's why the whole book is called Yoga Vasisht. A story says, so far I remember, it has 26,000 verses, and all sincere students of yoga should at least one time go to study this Yoga Vasisht. Such a beautiful talk about human body, mind, Panchkosh, everything is described in detail. Vasishtha was also teacher of Ram. Ram studied at his cottage, at his hermitage, and became very evolved soul. So these two documents, Ramayana and Yoga Vasishtha, forms the great ancient scriptures of spiritual and yogic facts. So for now, in short, I have discussed about the time period which is beyond Vedas or prior to the documentation of Vedas. We can call it pre-Vedic time period, and how yoga was documented, expressed, and it became popular. Now I go to second level. It's a very important level because so many facts have been available. What happened these thousands of years back are difficult to say. But what happened 1,000 years back, 5,000 years back is little bit more possible to find out about. So in the Vedic period, we will see the nature of yoga and facts about yoga. All of you know about Vedas. Vedas are the most ancient truth. Ved itself means to know. So the very simple meaning of Ved is to know, and what includes Ved is what to be known, the spiritual facts. When the term comes Vedic period, this does not mean it was the only time Ved was existing. Vedic period simply means the time when the truth of a spiritual life or truth were compiled into documents, and they were named as Vedas. That's why we call it Vedic period. Otherwise, there has always been Vedic period. Ramayana too was composed in the Vedic period. And since the human evolution came, it was also a Vedic period. And now it's also a Vedic period. And when I die, entire humanity goes into water, then also will be a Vedic time period. Just for the sake of a study, we see Vedic period was around 5 to 7,000 years back. That's the time of Vedic period. It was the time Vedas were composed, written. It was that time period when the most spiritual texts were composed. I suppose, and my understanding says that into this time, documents in bulks were composed. And for that higher purpose, a great soul was born. Like Valmiki, a great soul was born. His name was Vedavyas. He is considered to be the greatest. We say about prayer to Vedavyas, Namostute Vyas Vishala Buddhi. Vishala means vast, Buddhi means intelligence. O Vyas of vast intelligence, we worship you. Namostute Vyas Vishala Buddhi, Fullara Binda Yatapatra Netra. Yena Tvaya Bharat Tail Purne, Prajal Vito Jnana Deepa Pradeepa. O Vyas of the vast intelligence, your eyes are like fully bloomed lotus. Yena Tvaya Bharat Tail Purne. In this land of Bharat, you ignited the light of knowledge. Such a great soul, Vedas was born into that time. His birth is also very strange. I am not discussing that because time is very less. But he was born in a very strange situation. But his birth was for a high reason, for a great reason. So, Veda Vyas compiled the facts of Veda, knowing that human intelligence is unable to record. Previously, we say we had oral tradition. They say we could memorize and knowledge was passed in that way. Through speech, I spoke, somebody heard, and this way, oral tradition was existing. So Veda Vyas found that humanity is not going to contain that sharp and high memory. So he began to compile, and these facts of a spiritual life in the form of 4 different Vedas came into existence. We know about it: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvaveda. All 4 Vedas have different topics to be discussed about. Rigveda is mostly about hymns of praise of higher entities. Oh God, all kinds of prayers you will find in Rigveda. If you go to Yajurveda, rituals, worship, methods of all this yajna, fire worship, and all kinds of elaborate worship, they are discussed over there. Then go to Samaveda, it talks about music, songs, etc. And then comes Atharvaveda, all kinds of mesmerizing charm, spell, all these things have been described into Atharvaveda. So all these 4 Vedas have different topics to be discussed about. And know for sure, in all the 4 Vedas, 4 different things have been discussed. Mantra Samhita, Brahman, Aranyak, and 4th one is called Upanishads. So all these 4 different kinds of Ved will discuss 4 different kinds of topics. Everyone, we will see. So it is about the time period of Vedas. If you study Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda, in all the different Vedas, the term yoga comes. Rigveda, Atharvaveda, Samaveda clearly speaks the term yoga, and it says that perfection in yoga can be attained only by the grace of God. By perfection I mean enlightenment, not flexibility, not any kind of tricks and trials in yoga that nowadays we see. Here, all talk which I am doing it is about great people, their life, and their achievement. Achievement simple means enlightenment. And whatever life, as I told you about Valmiki, he was a street robber. He was a robber in the forest. So through the path on the forest, anybody who passed by, he hold him, took away his possessions, and just lived life like that. So whatever the past somebody had is another matter. But what began to happen in life, his life changed, and eventually what he achieved was enlightenment. So all these talks have been in that we discussed. So 4 Vedas were composed. So Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, clearly it says perfection in yoga can be attained only by the grace of God. God is the goal, liberation is the goal, and can be attained only by the grace of God. In the Vedic period, apart from the 4 Vedas, so many other texts were also composed. If you go to study about them, we have also Upavedas, like sub-Vedas, minor Vedas. For example, knowledge about archery, knowledge about dance, knowledge about agriculture, and so on. So all different kinds of Vedas were actually composed. Apart from Vedas and Upavedas, a great epic like Ramayana in the past I have discussed, called Mahabharata, came into existence. Mahabharata. In Mahabharata is called the biggest document of a spiritual life, spiritual facts. It has 100,000 verses. Who composed it? Veda Vyas. So almost all the spiritual texts of that time, in this Vedic time period, were composed by Vedas himself. Vedas, Upavedas, and further you go ahead, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, whatever, it's a part of Mahabharata, 18 Puranas, Adhyatma Ramayana, all these great talks which we hear about, they were composed during Vedic time period, and they were composed by one and only Vedas. He was divine, he was inspired by the divine for that great work. In Mahabharata, there is a great verse which clearly shows about the topic yoga. It says, Sankhasya Bhakta Kapila Paramarsi Sa Uchyate Hidanya Garva Yogasya Prokta Nanya Puratana. He said, the Sankhya, all of you know about Sankhya, it's a kind of philosophy I will talk about further. It said, the sage Kapil founded Sankhya. It's a one fact about a spiritual life. But the yoga itself was, founded by Hiranyagarbha. Whenever you have to speak about who organized yoga, who advocated yoga, the fact comes Hiranyagarbha itself. Now, Hiranyagarbha is prior to Valmiki. Even if he was a great saint, Hiranyagarbha is prior to Valmiki. The Hiranyagarbha term has been used to denote different kind of people. Here, when I use the word Hiranyagarbha, I mean the creator Brahma. Hiranyagarbha has also been used for the great God, the highest God. But Hiranyagarbha has also been used in different terms, in different contexts about Brahma, the creator. It's a Brahma had 4 mouths, through 4 mouths, 4 Vedas came, and Hiranyagarbha was guided by God himself. And that's the way the story goes. So Hiranyagarbha himself founded yoga, which we say. That possible verse come in Mahabharata, and in my text, in the comment, I have sent the whole talk which I am doing now. You can clearly find which verse number, which chapter in Mahabharata. It's all been sincerely in the same way I am talking about it. It has been given. You can, after my talk is finished, you can just go and have a look about it. So the story, the fact about yoga is also discussed there. It was the Vedic time period. Vedic time period. Apart from that, all other so many different talks were given. Now, the exact basis of yoga, which I am very interested to talk about now, is from Bhagavad Gita. And that leaves a clear idea about the whole history and lineage. The whole history and the whole lineage. Bhagavad Gita, I begin my talk with the verse of Bhagavad Gita. Remember, very first word I have used today about my talk is from Bhagavad Gita. That truth always is present, untruth can never be present, can never be existing. So here I hint about Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 1, 2, and 3. These 3 verses are very important. It talks about the lineage of great teachers. It talks about the history, and it talks about the ancient basis. And you might be remembering, I used the word Ikshvaku in the beginning of my talk. The same Ikshvaku is coming now to connect that how things are interwoven, interconnected, and how they are the same, though they appear at different times, very different. The first verse of chapter 4 says, in Sanskrit, I have put it all in text also, it says very clearly, God Krishna says, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanah mabbayam vivasvan manve prahur manu ikshvakave brabit. Very clearly, manu ikshvakave brabit. Very clearly it says. Sri Krishna says, God Krishna says, in the very ancient time, very, very, very ancient time, I means who? Rohit Kumar? No, I means God. Imam Bibas, this yog was given by me to the God Son, Bibaswan. The name of Son is also Bibaswan. He says, in the ancient time, I gave this knowledge of Yoga to the Son. From the Son, it came to the first human on the earth, like Adam's in Bible. Here also we have first men and women, Adam, Eve in Bible, and here we have Manu and Satrupa. Manu is the first human on the earth. Study Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In that Upanishad, the talk has been given about it. How Manu came into existence by Hiranyagarbha himself. So it was given to Son, Son gave to Manu, Manu gave to Ikshvaku, and from Ikshvaku it was given to all other great sages of that time. Sri Krishna is very in verse number 1, 2, and 3. Then further he says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsayo vidu. Through the lineage of knowledge and tradition, it went in the hands of great sages. Sakaleneha mahata yogo nastah parantapa. Then he says, with the period of time, with the passage of time, that knowledge became obsolete, irrelevant. People began to be disinterested toward it. So in a way we can say it got lost. For example, I don't know how to drive aeroplane. So for me, knowledge of how to drive an aeroplane is lost. I don't know about it. But there are many people who know about it. Which means that culture was very much rapidly and effectively going on. Somehow it became lost. And he says, the same yoga I am going to discuss to you. I am going to speak to you because you are dear to me. You are friendly to me. And you want to know, you are surrendering. So Ikshvaku, which I have said in the beginning, Ikshvaku Bans Prabhavo Ramo Nam Janay Sutah. Ram was born in the family of Ikshvaku, line of Ikshvaku. Same Ikshvaku Sri Krishna is discussing in Bhagavad Gita. As I have said, any spiritual fact must be in conformity with the three scriptures, Gita, Brahma Sutra, and Upanishad. So here Gita confirms the knowledge of Valmiki Ramayana. Any book in the past, in the present, in the coming future, they must be in harmony with these three books. Here the proof is here. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, 1 to 3. So the lineage of yoga was initiated by God himself. It came to first human. Hiranyagarbha came to first human, and then in the lineage it was handed down to other people, and at some point of time it became obsolete, disinteresting for so many people. Not everybody does yoga even now. In the same way, it began to it ceased to be the culture. And same yoga, Lord Krishna revived. So in the Vedic time period, Vedas, Mahabharata, Quran, Bhagavad Gita, etc., they all were highly into popularity, and yoga almost became a great culture. In the past, also it was. So little talk about the Vedic time period I have done for now. Now I go ahead with this pre-classical time period after Vedas. So it is around 3000 to 4000 BC. It was the time period when Upanishad, Darsanaj, and I believe Tantra But you know Tantra, modern Tantra nowadays. So they were highly popular into those times. When I use the word darsana, 6 schools of thoughts, Nyaya, Sankhya, Vaisheshik, Yoga, Uttar Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa, all together, these 6 schools of thoughts, all together, it in different parts of this universe and continent, they came into existence. And they were highly popular. It was in this pre-classical time period. Here I have to talk 1-2 line about Tantra. Actually, I could talk about Tantra in this pre-Vedic time period because the knowledge of Tantra is also similarly very ancient. There are some talks about Tantra which I don't agree much about. They say this knowledge was given by Shiva to 7 great sages, and those sages traveled to all parts of the world, South America, Middle East, they traveled and they taught the principles of Tantra and Yoga everywhere. This thought has been given, but some agree, some disagree. However, about Tantra, I simply say it is as ancient as Vedas, it is as ancient as humanity, universe, and knowledge in Tantra is always in conformity with Vedas. The only beautiful thing I find in Tantra that Tantra includes no injunction. It does not tell you no, don't do that. It tells you do this, that's it. Apart from what you are doing, do this thing also. So Tantra, like Upanishad and Darshan, also flourished. In Tantra, the teacher is Shiva and his wife is disciple. 2 great kind of books were given to in the field of Tantra. One is called Agam, one is called Nigam. Agam is the text where Shiva speaks, Parvati, his wife, hears, and Nigam is the text which Parvati speaks and Shiva hears. So both are in a way teacher and student together. And it's a big story about Tantra. Simply say, in this time period, Upanishad, Darshan and Tantra became very much popular, and somehow with that flow of knowledge, Yoga also kept going. Now, after pre-classical comes the time period of classical time periods, which I may say around 2000 BC. It was in this time, I would simply say, Yoga Sutra of Patanjali became more popular because the influence of Tantra was somehow getting unpopular for so many kinds of witchcrafts and all kinds of petty knowledge that people try to misuse. So somehow society revolted Tantra. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra became a very popular text. Including that, 2 great souls emerged. Mahavir, in his name, one lineage called Jain came into existence, and also Gautam Buddha came into existence. You know about Buddha? Actually, during that time, fire rituals were performed, yajna were performed, and lots of animal sacrifice were done. So Buddha came and he just made injunction about it. And also some people say he discarded Vedas. He didn't do it. The only thing he did that, he was trying to take away people from what they are doing in the name of yoga and religion. So he condemned in some way some practices of Vedas, and he tried to popularize the truth of Yoga Sutra. You will see, if any one of you have gone through Buddhism, you must know they also have 5 yamas, 5 niyamas, all these talks they have been given. So he systematized, I believe, Yoga Sutra to his own knowledge. He became highly popular. So this classical time period was the time of Yoga Sutra, Mahavir and Gautam Buddha. And then comes post-classical time. This time period was 500 BC to 1700 AD. I include here. After 500 years of Buddha came Christ, his great knowledge, his achievements. I include here also This way yoga became popular. 500 years back, Shankaracharya was born. Like Valmiki and Vyas, he was a great scholar. He established the facts of Vedas. He established three scriptures as the foundation, as a litmus test for spiritual life. So it was that time period, great upheavals of a spiritual life began. So Shankaracharya came around 500 BC. Christ came, you know about it, his time period when he came. And after that, so many great saints came. What we practice now, yoga, hatha yoga, etc., it began to become more popular around 8 to 9 AD. There was a great saint called Matsyendranath, Gorakhnath, and King Bhartrihari. All together, they popularized Hatha Yoga. So you must know, Hatha Yoga is very ancient. From 8 to 9 AD, it became highly popular. And then lots of great saints, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanandacharya, Ramatirth, so many great saints evolved in different time periods, 500, 800, 1200, 1300, 1400. Some name I can say further, Kabir, Tulsidas, Samarth Guru Ramdas, Mirabai, Ravidas, Purandar Das, Chaitanya Dev, Guru Nanak, many great saints, they evolved and they popularized, they established, and they maintained the great knowledge of yoga, which was somehow limping with the time period. That happened between 500 to 1700 years, 500 BC to 1700 AD. So many facts are available nowadays about those time periods, but the greatest of all is, in my opinion, what was founded by great Shankaracharya, who was born at 500 BC, the post-classical time period. Now after that time period, we have a record of great emergence of yoga. It began with Swami Vivekananda when 1893. This is called modern time period, which I would say from 1800 AD. Actually, his Guru Ramakrishna Paramahansa was born in 1832. So from that time period onwards, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, his wife Sarada Devi, and Vivekananda, and some other saints also, but they were the key figures. In 1893, Vivekananda went to America, Chicago, and he spoke about yoga, spirituality, and he popularized again Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. And from that time onwards, it became the main spiritual document. And he made the first commentary of that. After Vivekananda, followed Paramahansa Yogananda, who popularized Kriya Yoga. After Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramana Maharshi, who was great Jnana Yogi. Aurobindo, Maharshi Aurobindo in Pondicherry, he popularized integral yoga. After Maharshi Aurobindo, I would say great Swami Shivanand of Rishikesh, through his disciples, through his great books, he systematized all the ancient documents of yoga and he made it worldwide popular. During the same time, so many other saints were also evolving. Baba Neem Karori, Mata Anandamayi, Yogi Nityanand, Yogi Muktanand, and like that there were so many yogis. Until now, so many yogis have been coming and trying to establish yoga in different orientations and different parts of the world. Yoga does not mean asana pranayama. It's a part, it's yogang, the part in yoga. It has so many varieties. So one yogi popularized this, other popularized this. Together it became a highly important branch of knowledge. So from the pre-Vedic time period until now, lots of work has been done by great yogis. In modern time, I don't name so many people because many of them you already know. Few names I have given, mostly Vivekananda, Swami Shivanand, Vivekananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramana Maharshi, Maharshi Arvind, Swami Shivanand, Baba Neem Karoli, Mata Anandamai, and so many other, Swami Ram, and Swami Satyanand of Bihar School of Yoga. So all the great people, they try to bring about the light of yoga. They maintain the light of yoga throughout the world. So as a part of the history of yoga, we had this broad discussion. However, I would say it's not complete. Time is too short. It's already finishing. And I'm not saying what I have said is complete truth, but I have tried to ponder over. I have tried to collect, gather, mix up, and bring about some possible opinions. And if there are some loopholes, some fouls, please forgive. And I have put the whole talk which I have given at the comment box with the title. You can just go and have a look on that after my talk is over. You can hear whatever I have spoken, and also whatever I have spoken, mostly it has been given over there. So many talks are written there, I couldn't speak, time is too less. But whatever I have spoken up to the best of my capacity. Sorry for any inconvenience. Sorry for this outer noise which just suddenly comes in India in this case. And sorry for maybe slow internet, whatever. So thank you very much for joining the class. And I wish you a very good day. And please enjoy the coming session. Thank you very much. And we begin the concluding prayer. Please close your eyes. Calm your body and watch your eyebrow center. Visualize the point of light at the eyebrow center. We will chant Om Shanti all together. Inhale, exhale. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Gently open the eyes. Thank you so much. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat.